Hey everybody, this is Denny.
And this is James from TeaDB, and we have a couple special guests today. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm Glen Bowers. I'm from Crimson Lotus Tea.
I'm Glen Bowers' wife. My name is Denny and Lamu. I'm from Yunnan province. My hometown is Shangri-La.
Cool. So we're doing episode
26
today.
That's awesome.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah.
We have some beautiful looking red pu'er we're going to taste. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, and while we are starting us off, do you guys want to talk a little bit about Crimson Lotus Tea and what you guys are up to?
Sure, yeah. We're fairly new into Puer. I had a revelation experience with Puer in Santa Cruz just this summer, and I had a very, very strong emotional connection to it. I'm a big coffee guy, super into coffee, always have been, and I haven't drank coffee since. Puer is exactly pretty much everything I've always been looking for. And right about the same time, my wife Lamu and I were about to be getting married, and I started looking more into Puer and find out that I knew she was from Yunnan, but I never knew that Puer. I didn't know anything about Puer. So it was this like amazing like connection of things. Like I find this like amazing drink that I've been looking for my entire life. Had no idea it exists at the same time that I'm getting married to a girl who's from Yunnan.
Yeah.
She's just a
Well, that's pretty much all I know about Yunnan is that Pu'erh Tea comes from there.
Yeah. Me too.
So yeah, we were talking about Pu'erh Tea, and I was talking with her about how much I love this tea, and almost just joking that we should start like a tea business and give us a chance to go back to China a couple times a year, and I could educate others like me who might be looking for Pu'erh Tea but have no idea that it actually exists. And she's like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Why not?
Yeah, and that's exactly what she said, why not? And I'm like, that's awesome. And so we've pretty much spent a lot of time ever since then just working on...
From this summer,
working on kind of building up a brand about Pu'erh Tea specifically, and working to educate people. We do a lot of tea tastings at our house, mostly with people who don't know anything about tea, have never had Pu'erh Tea before, and really trying to just do a lot of education, open people's eyes to what Pu'erh Tea actually is.
Yeah.
So what would you kind of recommend for someone that's like kind of just getting started into the world of Pu'erh Tea? Like where should you start? Like it's kind of a crazy place to go. You don't want to have to buy like a big cake like that just first thing. It's like that's just a lot of tea, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could end up with a lot of really, really bad tea.
Yeah, it's Pu'erh Tea is tricky like that. And I mean, obviously if you have the ability to have a tea tasting with somebody who has some level of expertise with tea that can show you what things are and how to get into it, that's awesome. If not, I mean, there's a lot of information on the internet, and one of the things that we're also putting together these Pu'er starter sets. I find a lot of my friends become really interested in Pu'er Tea, but then have no way to actually like brew it. A lot of my friends don't even have like teapots or even like strainers, so they can't even like make Pu'er in a coffee mug if they wanted to. So we started setting up these Pu'er starter sets, which are they come with a table, they come with a gaiwan, they come with an I Ching pot, all the tools you need.
We even order tea from China. The Pu'erh Tea have different shapes. Some are cake, some are brick, some are tall. So they have different sizes. So we pick a brick one, so the size is perfect. Not like that big.
So we're selling these Pu'er starter kits with a really good, decent starter Pu'er, and we're going to be setting up kind of like an unboxing and tutorial like video, putting it up on YouTube specifically for these kits. Like this is what you do when you get your kit. This is how you brew it, and it'll come with a nice kind of like a starter show Pu'er. But you've got the capacity to brew a shang Pu'er too in there as well, because it'll have a gaiwan. So
and for the starter, I think shu Pu'er may be better, right? Like you.
I think so.
I think so too.
Shu Pu'er immediately.
Especially considering that, like, I think the
Wow. This was really nice.
So the Sheng Pu'er that is accessible tends to be more aged. I mean, it can be kind of a unpleasant surprise for some people if they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, my first experience with Sheng Pu'er, and I didn't even know anything about it. I just had some Sheng Pu'er we got from her parents as a gift for when we got married. And I mean, I just threw it into the same Yixing that I brew everything else in because I didn't really know what you do with Yixing pots, and I had this really horrible Sheng Pu'er experience, and yeah, and so I just I kind of put it on the shelf and was like, all right, I'll figure that out later. And I've gotten to where I know how to brew it into a way that is really tasty for myself. But it's still a pretty young. Actually, most of the pu'er, the Sheng Pu'er that's easily accessible is still really young if you don't have a ton of money to spend.
Yeah.
So I don't even think we've talked about this tea yet.
Oh yeah.
What are we drinking?
We should. This is a really special show pu'er. It was a gift from her parents when we got married, and so we have a full tong of it, and
they come 7 cakes together.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's very traditional way of the cakes. In China, we call that 七子茶, 7 cakes together.
Yeah, so, it has to. You've seen the 7 sons.
Yeah.
You've heard that. It's kind of like a symbol of prosperity. You give it to a new family and kind of
wish
that you have 7 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
also easy way to
Yeah, it's really easy to store it. So yeah, this is from the Yunnan Pu'er Special Tea Factory. That's the actual name of it. I really love Chinese, the simplicity in Chinese factory names. I mean, they just tell you exactly what they are. This is from a place in China called Ning'er. Ning'er is just a little bit north of Pu'er City. So south of Kunming, but a little bit north as far as the a little bit norther than the Zhishuangbana area where most of the Pu'er tea factories are actually located. The tea is from the Kunlu Mountain, and the Kunlu Mountain is in the southern part of the Wulong Mountain Range, and it's one of the as far as in the Pu'er County, it's one of the largest tea growing areas for ancient tea gardens. In the Qing Dynasty, 150 years ago, this is where the tribute teas came from that they sent to Beijing. So they have around almost 400 trees that are over 2,000 years old that are used in cultivation, which is fantastic. These leaves are probably from trees 400 to 500 years old. But it's a first grade.
Interesting. Do you know if most of these the leaves from this region are kind of used for show pu'er like these? Or
I don't know where else they're used. I just know that these that this pu'er is from there, but I'm not sure who else uses them. It's a large area.
Tea garden, lots of tea factory uses leaves.
Okay.
I think they're both for the Shen and the Shu. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it would be interesting to find it out, but it's really hard finding good information on the Western internet.
For sure, that's reliable too.
Yeah, right. It really helps that my wife can speak Chinese, so anytime I need to know something else about it, I just send it to her, and she looks it up and finds the information.
Cool. Better than us. We usually just make it up.
So far we've done 1 rinse.
Yeah. So you've been doing a 2 rinse thing lately, right?
We usually do, although I've actually been experimenting with a longer single rinse, and both are effective. But I'm just curious about you guys. What do you?
I've done both.
Uh-huh.
I just started to feel that there was still a lot to be offered in that first steep, after the first wash, and when you're looking at some pu'er tea that may be a lot more expensive, I really just don't want to throw it away. Is what it comes down to.
Especially because the expensive tea does tend to be a little bit cleaner, I think, and I mean that's one of the reasons why you'd want to rinse it twice.
Right. I also love your little pig right here.
Dude, this guy is adorable. Lamu fell in love with him in Vancouver this weekend. We went out to the Vancouver Tea Festival.
Yeah.
And we named him xiaoyoudu, which is
小油豆.
yeah, my pronunciation. It means
Pretty close.
means fat little belly.
And if you guys probably couldn't notice this, maybe we can get some coverage of it later. But when you pour the tea on it, it kind of burps a little bit because it has a little hole in the mouth. It's very cute.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's very enjoyed.
Let's try it.
Yes, of course.
The color is so dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
So smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very smooth.
It's beautiful. Very. So we were talking earlier about the idea of pu'er being red pu'ers.
Wow.
Being
very
crimson. Colored, and of course with the company and such, but beautiful deep red color. I already can maybe it's just the heat alone, but
yeah, it's like sweet,
energizing.
thick, like a lot of what you would look for in a good kind of red pu'er, I think. At least for
Absolutely,
me.
and especially considering this is the first steeping.
Yeah,
pretty amazing in terms of the viscosity.
Yeah,
very smooth. Really just kind of reminiscent of like a really good traditional red pu'er. Really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These leaves have a lot to give. It will brew this dark or darker for probably 15 steeps. It's amazing. I can
drink for a whole day from the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I usually do. That's what I'll do. I'll have one pot that I start with in the morning, and I'll just keep using it all day.
Mm-hmm. I've even heard actually that you could, and I've never done this before, nor experimented with this before, but that you can actually boil the leaves.
Boil.
As for if your favorite ripes at the very end, just throw them in a teapot and boil the leaves.
So the last time we did a really good long tea tasting with this, it was almost 4 hours long using like the same pot, and we just sat there for 4 hours just like talking about tea and drinking only this for the entire time.
Wow.
It was amazing. And I generally like that thick, dark, early, earthy pu'er taste, and so I usually like to brew things like longer and stronger. But I actually made that first one a little lighter. This one will probably now that the leaves have opened up a little bit. Pu'er is so forgiving, and you can really do whatever you want with it, especially the show pu'er, and brew it as hot as you want, brew it as long as you want. It comes down to personal preference. Sometimes I want something that looks like motor oil, and so I just like leave it in as long as possible, and it just has so much of that really, really good taste, and that's
really nice.
It's really nice and thick.
Yeah.
I always give a little bit back to my pot, a little bit to the pig. Lamu generally likes it after about 3 or 4 steeps, and some of that earthiness is gone, and some of the sweetness has come out. But
very deep, beautiful color.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So this is our second steeping here.
These cups keep it a little hotter than my cups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, the white cup is good, so we can see the color.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't really use a filter either. I like I'm not scared of getting some leaves in my cup, so I kind of like that. And usually by the end, there's a nice little set of like leaves in the bottom, but they fall so fast, and if you pour nice and slow, you don't really
Absolutely.
get that.
Thank you.
And you also mentioned that in your starter kits you're going to be offering Yixing pots with that as well. What would you say to kind of like people getting started in that maybe don't have as much experience with Yixing, because that's another very dangerous world where you can spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And perhaps not get a whole lot out of it.
Right.
I mean, as much as you'd hope.
It's you really just kind of. You have to learn by doing. You really do. You can't really expect to jump into something and just know everything. So the Yixing pots that we have are not that we're selling in the starter kits. They're not like fantastic, like 200-year-old pots, of course.
Right.
But it's a real good pot to start with. And like our only instruction would be like only brew like show pu'er in this pot. We have our starter kits come with a gaiwan as well, and we would instruct people to anything else that they wanted to make with it. Just brew that in the gaiwan, whether it was like oolong tea or whatever it was. But keep the iching pot just for show pu'er, and then if you feel that it's an amazing experience and you like brewing from iching, then buy more. There's plenty out there.
Absolutely. So. It can get to be a connoisseur's market for sure. That's great. So just to make some observations too. So what I've observed is that we're kind of doing basically right off of the boil steep, seems like, and the steep time seems to be about 15 seconds. Yeah. And the quality of this tea is showing strongly because on just 15 seconds alone, we're getting a just beautiful, beautiful cup of tea. Sometimes I think that I've had bad ripe pu'er where even 15 seconds with a fair amount of leaf and it's just gross.
Yeah.
So this is wonderfully smooth, nice and viscous.
Chinese restaurant ripe pu'er.
Yeah. No, it's these are really good leaves. I mean, it shows. I mean, you guys have had enough pu'er by now to recognize differences in quality, and these leaves have so much to give. You can drink with them all day long.
And just speaking to that, so what's kind of the traditional way that you guys do drink tea? So a lot of folks, the traditional sort of English influence coming into the United States would be if you are getting loose leaf tea, you're going to have it in the morning. It's going to be with milk and sugar and maybe
forget
breakfast.
About it, brew a couple times.
45-minute brew times. And what do you guys like to do?
I'm a total sucker for ritual. I don't think that in our Western culture we have enough things that we do ritually. And so the first time I experienced the gong fu tea brewing process, I was completely hooked. And I came home from my Santa Cruz trip, I bought a tea table, I bought a pot, and I just started doing it. So this is exactly how I make my tea every single morning. It doesn't matter where I'm going. If I'm going to leave somewhere else, I'll make a couple brews, put it in a travel mug, carry a travel mug with a little white teacup. But this is what she and I do every single morning. We sit at the table, we sit over breakfast, we make a show pu'er, pick something different every day, and just kind of mix it up.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So should we wrap it there? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Thank you guys for being on episode 26. If you guys want to find more information about you folks, what would be a good place to find you guys?
Crimson Lotus Tea, Facebook or Twitter right now.
Fantastic.
Follow our adventures. We're going to be going to Yunnan in January for 4 months, and so we're going to be blogging and taking pictures and exploring.
Super exciting. And we'll make sure to, in the post and in the comment or in the description below, we'll talk about your starter kit and how to get that too.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah. Maybe we'll see you on next time for TeaDB.
Yeah. And
absolutely. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's call it.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you.